Some people are joining live. Some people will be watching this via recording. I do these webinars twice a month. I focus on one of them, which is really geared towards marriage and relationships, which is what we're doing today. And the other time during the month, I work on business and executive for people who want to know what can you be doing right now in your relationship or in your business to be making progress. So if you're joining live or you're watching this replay, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let me give you just a little structure about how things are going to happen today. If you signed up, you realize that this is a workshop. This is not for you to be passive and listen, which you can do, but I'm going to share some content with you in the first 20 minutes that is going to have an impact in your relationship, because we're talking about marriage and relationships today, if you choose to use it. The rest of this session is basically a workshop for anybody that's attending live. It's free coaching. It's complimentary. It's what I do. It's my full-time gig. I'm a certified master practitioner in different assessments. I am trained by IPEC, which is the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And that is an organization, a training partner that's recognized by the International Coaching Federation. So first 20 minutes, I'm going to give you some tools that maybe you're already using. Maybe you've never heard about how to use them, and hopefully you'll be willing to apply them and get better results in your relationship. And like I said, the rest of this workshop, I will answer any questions and give coaching one-on-one to the people who ask the first questions. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to work on giving you some stuff that I know you can use. How can you transform high pressure moments in your relationship? We all have them. The masters of relationships still deal with issues. Every relationship has issues, good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm so glad you're here. I've been coaching couples and business people, executives, managers for over 10 years. As I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, I'm trained. And I am a husband who's been married 32 years. And I got to tell you that after 20 years of marriage, neither my wife nor I were completely happy with the way things were going. And we did a lot of work. It spawned my first book, Kickass Husband, Winning at Life, Marriage, and Sex. And that got me into this career and this industry. So I've lived it. And so by the end of our 20 minutes together, you're going to have 3 practical tools that you can use the next time things get heated up at home. And if you can challenge me on that, and if you have questions about it, that's why I'm here. So we have 14 pillars for all successful relationships. I put them up here because these are the issues, the topics that we talk about, that we work on, and making sure that we have healthy relationships. The first 3 are what we call the 3 C's: commitment, communication, and conflict resolution. Those are the foundation. That's why they're highlighted and called out. Today, we're kind of looking at pillar number 5, which is patience. And I want to make sure that you know that's why you're here, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So what's our objective? I want you to learn how to transform high pressure moments to peace and calm. See the before picture? And that you ever felt like that's you? That's been me and my wife at sometimes on some issues. But you can approach and talk about any issue and create a safe harbor in your relationship. So when you have a discussion, a difference, a disagreement, it looks a lot more like the picture on the right. So if you feel stuck in an unresolved argument, or your intimacy is maybe dwindling, I want to validate those feelings, because I felt that before, and that might be something that you're feeling right now. Relationships are really just profound journeys. And when the threat of disconnection looms, it can feel incredibly isolating. So today I'm going to empower you and your partnership and teach you how to exactly navigate these challenges. And we'll be able to do that together. So what are you going to get today if you hang around and take notes? And by the way, I'm happy to send a summary of this to anybody that is on this today. And if you're watching a recording of it and you want that summary, all you got to do is email me. If you signed up for this, you got emails from me. I'm going to throw my email in the chat right now. And all you have to do is email me and say, send me that summary. It's an executive summary of everything we're talking about today. So 3 specific strategies. You're going to get application tools to get better outcomes. I'm going to answer any questions. And then 40 minutes, we can workshop any specific challenge or issue that you may have or want to work on today. So patience is not passive. It's your most powerful tool. Patience is that little space, right, between trigger and response, where your relationship is won or lost. Viktor Frankl says there is stimulus and there's response. And in that space between those two, there's a space, there's a pause, right? And in that space is where your relationship is won or lost. In high pressure moments, sometimes you get reactive, it escalates, and your patience de-escalates. And let me tell you, everybody, this is a skill. This is not a personality trait. Anybody can learn it and anybody can apply it. And there's 3 core principles that you're going to be able to apply tonight. Patience is not as biting your tongue or white knuckling, right? But it's a conscious anabolic choice that creates safety. So I say anabolic. Anabolic is energy that's building, that's sustainable, that doesn't tear down, but it builds up. The opposite of that is catabolic, which is destructive energy and tears down. So I'm going to teach you about how to develop that anabolic muscle in your relationship. Core principle 1, here's the shift. The power of calm presence. How do we go from reacting to responding? Here's the shift. If you stop seeing conflict as a battle to win and start seeing it as a moment to steady, it's a reframe. If you think here comes conflict and you're putting your dukes up, that's part of the problem because you think you're going into a battle, when really it's a moment, it's an opportunity for you to calm things down, get your and your partner's balance, because your calm is contagious, right? So is your chaos. So whatever you're bringing and magnifying, that's what's going to be present in the relationship. So when one partner is able to stay grounded, the temperature, right, of everything drops. So a heated partner is looking, often unconsciously, for cues about whether they're safe. They're angry and there's something looming under the surface. They're looking at their partner. They're feeling the mood, the body language, the tone, the eyes, all those factors. And they want to know one thing. Am I safe? Do I have to protect myself? Is this a battle? Or can I bring the temp down and know I can trust we're going to have a calm situation to work through? And your calm presence, both people in the relationship send you that cue, right? Think about a calm parent with a crying child, right? What would happen if that parent started screaming and getting angry and jumping around, right? Or think if there's a steady captain in really rough seas, lots of stuff going on around you, but you're calm and you're working through it, right? It isn't about being right. It's about being steady. So in those moments of chaos or fear or anxiety or conflict, if you can remain calm and bring that to the relationship, we're going to teach you how to do that. And that's what's coming up next. So here's the core principle number 1. It's called the calm presence method. And there's 4 steps that are going to help you do this. The first one I already talked about, pause. Take 1 full breath before you speak. Literally, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Take space. Nothing's going to happen or go anywhere. And then soften. Your shoulders are up here and your arms and your tense. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, lower your volume, just like I'm talking to you right now. How does it make you feel when I speak to you this way? And then look at your partner in the eyes and say, I hear you, before you say anything else. And then when you respond, choose your words from calm and from your values, not from the heat of the moment or your emotion. Let's say that again. Before you respond, say, is this response in line with who I am in who I want to be, my values? Or am I reacting to the heat of the moment or the emotions I feel because of what I perceived is going on? So acknowledgement, the magic of this principle, the calm presence, is that acknowledgement has to happen before problem solving. That person is not going to be ready to receive or hear anything you say unless they know it's safe. So this calm presence method, these 4 steps allow you to create an environment where progress can occur. Okay. Core principle. Here's the key takeaway, right? You set the temperature. You're not manipulated by them. You don't have to respond how they want you or expect you to respond. When you choose calm presence, you give your partner permission to do the same. The fastest way to cool a hot moment is to refuse to add heat to it, right? But staying calm is hard when your own emotions are flooding. When your prefrontal cortex is flooded, it's really hard to stay calm. And that's where our second principle of today comes in. Principle number 2 is the shift, is anchoring and grounding, right? You have to steady yourself first. A lot of couples spend their energy trying to fix or control the other person. So let's reframe that. Your only real point of control is yourself. That's the truth, whether it's your kids, your spouse, your partner, your team members, your boss, your family, doesn't matter. The only person you can control is yourself. When emotions run high, your body floods with stress hormones, right? And the thinking brain goes offline because it's acting on self-preservation, right? Dopamine, adrenaline. But when you ground, you bring that calm back online. So this happens to everybody, by the way. So if you stop trying to manage your partner's emotions and start managing your own, that's the best place to start. Because you can't pour calm from an empty cup. If you're not calm, you can't meet your partner in that way. Grounding is really just a kind of self-leadership. It's the work you do before you even open your mouth. And we're going to share those things with you. So here's 3 methods you can use. This is our second principle, 3 anchors. Now, if you have a boat, like let me use a little nautical analogy, do you necessarily need 3 anchors? You might put out 1 and maybe 2 just to be in case. These are all 3 things you can use, or you can pick one of them out, and we're going to talk about them. Body anchor is the first, right? In other words, I'm in a situation and I go, I need to get in touch with my body. Let me feel my feet on the floor. And then look around and name 3 things I physically sense. Right now, my feet are on the floor. It feels a little warm in the environment where I am. I have 3 lights on around me right now. I see my teacup with green tea in it on the desk, okay? Why do we do that? If I pay attention to my body and I go back to my senses, I'm taking my thought away from the problem and getting back to myself. Here's the second, the breath anchor. I call this 7-11 breathing, and I use it all the time. And it is scientifically shown to lower your blood pressure. You're going to breathe in through the nose for 4 seconds. You're going to hold for 6. Breathe out of your mouth for 7. Do that again with me. In. Hold it. Out for 7. If you do that more than 4 or 5 times in a row, it will change your physiology. It lowers your heart rate. It lowers your blood pressure. It allows you to be more in touch with not the emotion, but who you are and where you are. The third anchor, right? Value anchor. Ask yourself in your head, you can say it out loud if you want to, if it works, but who do I want to be in this moment? And then think, how do I need to respond? so that I am who I want to be right now. Instead of responding on emotion, anger, symptoms, a previous hurt, right? You're focusing instead on who you want to be in the moment. So the value anchor really is the most powerful. It pulls you out of reactivity and back to intention. What's my desire? What do I want to do here? So I'd encourage you to pick one of these and practice it daily, not just in conflict, before a meeting, before you're talking to your child, when you're physically exhausted, maybe when you don't feel well. Use one grounding method. It's going to bring you back to yourself and allow you to respond based on what's most important to you. You got 3. You can use them all, but like a new exercise or a new habit, try one and then try another and see what works best for you. So core principle 2, what's the big takeaway? If you're grounded, then you have a chance to ground the relationship. So think about this, the difference between a thermometer that reacts to the room, right? It takes the temp of what's going on versus a thermostat. It sets the temperature. You want to be the thermostat because you want your action to set what's going on around you, not be driven by the temperature of what's around you. See the difference there? What's the relationship benefit? You become a stabilizing force that both you and your partner can lean on. So once you can stay calm and grounded, you build something together. And that's what we call a safe harbor. So if you're creating a safe harbor, that means you're building emotional safety together. This is where the two of you move from individual skills to a shared culture. And think about the idea of becoming your partner's safe harbor. What does that look like? It's a place that they can come back to no matter how rough the waters are everywhere else. If they know they could come back to the relationship, calm, acceptance, no judgment, right? That's where they're going to want to be in those times of trouble. So let's talk about the shift. Stop competing to be heard and start co-creating a space where both of you feel safe. Safety isn't the absence of conflict. Safety is the presence of trust during conflict. I'm going to say that again. Safety is not the absence of conflict. You're always going to have conflict, but it's the presence of trust during it so I can stay calm knowing we're going to work through it in a way that's beneficial to both of us. And a safe harbor, by the way, is built on purpose by both partners over time. This is not a one and done. I tried it once and then everything didn't work. Think of how long you've been in the relationship that you're in, right? And the issues you've been facing. It's probably months or years, could be decades. And all these issues didn't just happen overnight. They're an accumulation of both you and your partner's experiences over time. So it takes time, but you can retrain, rebuild, and bring what you want to be more present in the relationship. So if you connect to the trust, and every calm, grounded interaction adds a change to the relationship. It's almost like making a deposit in a bank account. Every time you have a positive interaction, the balance in the trust account goes up by you or your partner. Every single time that trust account gets higher to make sure it doesn't get overdrawn and cause chaos in the relationship. So here's core principle number 3. The safe harbor method. Here's the 4 agreements that you can have. This is the 3rd thing I'm teaching you today, all right? Here's the 4 agreements. No contempt. Agree to stop the sarcasm, the eye rolling, the name calling, the snide comments. That should not be part. If you want to create that safe harbor, that culture and environment with your partner, you got to agree to no contempt. Repair quickly. Create a signal or phrase that means let's pause and reconnect. When I use this, go like this, like the big X on the game show. And like, hold on, time out. Create your own. It could be anything. It could be funny. Make it funny. Something so absurd that when you and your partner say it, you can't help but laugh. It helps break the tension, a little bit of laughter, And it's that quiet signal that says, hey, we need to change what's going on here. Let's repair this. Because if you keep shoving stuff under the carpet, eventually it's going to pile up. You're going to trip over it, and you turn a small flame into a dumpster fire. Number 3, listen to understand. Reflect back what you hear to your partner to make sure you get it right. Because if you're misinterpreting and then acting on it, A, you're not hearing them, and B, you're going off on another tangent they didn't intend. Okay. So, and number 4, honor the win. Win-win. In fact, if you aim for solutions that protect the relationship, meaning it's good for you and good for your partner, not just good for you and bad for your partner, and not just good for your partner and bad for you. My wife and I have an agreement, Stephen Covey principle, win-win or no deal. Doesn't mean there's not compromise. Doesn't mean you might not get exactly what you want this time, or you're taking turns in something. But if you honor and insist on win-win, that means you're not going to damage one of you to benefit the other, because that's not how good relationships work. So the foundation of lasting trust and intimacy means that these agreements are mutual. You both have them. And if your partner's not willing to do it, start on your own. Because if you enact these things, I guarantee you, your partner's going to notice the difference, and it's going to lead to a healthy discussion about how you can both do it together. So what's the takeaway? It's a harbor you build together. When both partners commit to safety, conflict stops being a threat and becomes a doorway to deeper intimacy. You stop fighting each other and start facing challenges as a team, right? Think of 2 cords. When those 2 cords are separate, they're not very strong. But when they're wound together and on one front, you, us, is much stronger than one of you together. Here's a case study, right? This stuff in action. This actually happened with a client of mine. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, okay? So Kent and Sonia had a little transformation. Here's the challenge they faced. They've been together for years, and there have been a lot of escalating arguments, threatened separation, the D word, right? We should just get divorced. If you don't do this, I'm going to divorce you. If you don't do what I want, I'm going to divorce you, right? We may as well just get divorced. There's a near total breakdown in their communication. It was pretty bad. Here's the actions they took. They practiced that calm presence in heated moments. So it turned conflict and fighting to a respectful discussion, vulnerability, and sharing, because they were patient with each other. And they created a trusting environment where they each could be heard, understood, valued, and appreciated. They really co-created their safe harbor agreements. What was the impact of this? Conflicts dropped off from near daily to rare. They created a repair phrase, and their repair phrase was beans. It was something they found funny, and that's the one they used. And it diffused the tension in seconds because they both laughed. They reported the deepest trust and intimacy they've had in years by using some of these things in the coaching I work with them on. So you're going to make progress, and we're not looking for perfection. But that's your proof that these tools work and for real people. This is not my opinion. These are things that I work with clients to use to get the results they want. And I wouldn't be sharing them with you if they were just theoretical. We've put these things into practice. So what's your next step? Well, it starts with one conversation, because patience and connection are skills, and you don't have to build them alone. For everybody that's on this webinar today, if you haven't had one already, I do this at least 10 times a month. I give you a complimentary core energy coaching session. That means you grab this next link I'm going to show you in just a minute, and you walk away with a personalized roadmap to rebuild trust, intimacy, and teamwork. You get to take my coaching on the road, no strings attached, and have an hour of time dedicated to you and something that you'd like to see progress on in your relationship. And like I said, I do this 10 times a month. And when those sessions are gone, they're gone. So before we get to questions, opportunities, and We get into some workshopping. If you want to make your intentions your new reality and you want your complimentary coaching session, scan the QR code on the screen right now. Look at the link down below, and you'll answer a few basic questions. You'll be taken to my calendar link, and you can book a time on my calendar. Well, I will spend 45 minutes to an hour with you working on the number one issue that you'd like to make progress on. That's it. No strings attached. This is not a sales call. It's just me giving you something to show you how you can make progress in what I call the most important human relationship that you're in.